Hey there. Welcome to Toy Talk with Mike and Chad, episode 41. I'm Mike.
I'm Chad.
And the toys that we're going to talk about today is a bit of a mishmash of stuff. So we literally just shot an episode about all of our new G.I. Joes. And now you have a couple of, we'll say miscellaneous, although it's only 2 lines, really.
Yeah.
And then I've got things from, I think, 3 different toy lines that I want to talk about. So yeah, it's going to be one of our miscellaneous episodes. But some cool stuff here, I think.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. What do you want to start with?
Maybe I'll start.
Well, you know what, actually? So we did an episode together a little while ago, maybe a month ago now we posted it, about you bought all the new Ninja Turtle toys.
Yeah.
From
Mutant
Mayhem. So we reviewed the toys, but at that point we hadn't actually seen the movie. So we have seen the movie now, and you got the last toy you needed from that line.
I did.
So do you want to talk, just quickly, how do you feel about the movie? We're not going to do full review here or anything, but like...
It's better than I thought it would be. I think my initial hesitation with the movie, wow, that whistled. my initial...
Is that your nose that whistled?
No, that was my mouth.
Okay.
My initial hesitation with the movie was based on the action figure line that they put out, how they all look terrible, and I have a hard time adjusting to properties that
change the look
and everything, so I'm so invested in them. And
but by the end of that episode, you were already kind of being won over, and you hadn't seen the movie yet.
That's correct. So after seeing the movie, I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. There are a few things that I didn't necessarily like, but overall.
But so, like, from the toy review we talked about, so I know you initially, when you saw these designs, you said they were all stupid. But then you bought them, and you feel they grew on you. Yeah. And our consensus was kind of, the Turtles came out pretty good.
Yeah.
The bad guys, not so much.
much.
You especially didn't like Rocksteady, Be-Bop, Leatherhead. So after you saw the movie, did you change your mind about any of those characters?
I would say the only one that I changed my mind about probably would have been Leatherhead, because Leatherhead, for whatever reason, seemed to have more lines than Rocksteady and Be-Bop in the movie.
That was a surprise to me. Like, I thought, Be-Bop, especially when he's voiced by Seth Rogen, who not only is a star but the producer. And he only had like 5 lines in the movie.
Yeah,
like, so many of those mutants were underused. Like, I know it was a big cast, but like Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko, like, sure, he had some funny bits, but not nearly enough. Like, they could have done so much more with all those guys. Now I understand the focus had to be on the Turtles, but anyway, I enjoyed the movie as well. It was fun. So anyway, you get Splinter.
I did get Splinter. So Splinter was probably one of the figures that I thought looked stupidest with his new design, but Jackie Chan brought some life to him, and like he kind of played the overprotective dad card, and I like that. I enjoyed it. The gripes I had,
had some cool. He actually got in on that.
Yeah, he got in there. The thing about the action figure that I don't like, and this is the only shortcoming I think, is the tail. The tail is super long. It's longer than the feet. Okay. So it's hindered by the house coat thing that he's wearing.
So does it hinder the way he stands?
So it hinders the way he stands. So like if you put that down, you can see he's already balancing on his tail, which you can't move the tail out of the way. You can try to twist it, but it goes back to its original position. So it's really hard to get him to stand. And I did find this about the Turtles at first when I was trying to work with them. At home, I've got him propped up enough that it's not an issue. But yeah, overall, I think he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's not bad. And I'll have to splice, because you'll be taking these guys home with you when you leave here. Yeah. So I'll have to splice in a still image so people can get a good look at him. But like if I didn't know Master Splinter in any other medium, I would say, yeah, this looks cool. He's a rat sensei guy. But it's just in my head, I do love the 80s cartoon version so much that it is hard for me. Like, this guy looks more like a mouse than a rat, maybe, or something. I don't know. He's not bad. One thing I will say that I thought was kind of weird is depending on which continuity you're referring to. Like, in the old cartoons, and I think the original comic books from Mirage, but, like, he was a human character.
Yeah.
An Asian guy named
Hamato
Yoshi. And he got turned into a rat. And then if you watch, like, the live action movies from the 90s and maybe some other versions, he was a rat that belonged to an Asian guy named Hamato Yoshi, and he learned what he learned, like his karate and his English,
by watching
from Hamato Yoshi. So in this movie, they cast Jackie Chan, an Asian guy. So for the first time ever, Splinter kind of sounded like an Asian guy, and they totally discounted. He had no Asian connection.
Yeah.
Like, he's not an Asian guy. He wasn't owned by an Asian guy. He was in, like, a New York City rat that lived in the gutter, and he got splashed with ooze. So, like, why does he sound like Jackie Chan? I don't know. It seems weird that you went through the trouble of casting Jackie Chan and then disregarded all of his Asian heritage. It seemed like a weird, I don't know, weird choice.
And I feel like the movie's been out long enough that we can probably talk about the end credit.
Yeah, what was the end credit? I don't even remember.
It was Utram saying, "Bring me the shredder."
Yeah, because this movie has no shredder in it. Which,
like, are they going to have a relationship in that? Like,
I don't know.
probably not.
Probably not. How could he really?
Yeah,
he was also a rat that turned into
a superhuman.
Yeah, it was also weird that Splinter, by the end of the movie, had a relationship with Scumbug, who
it was really awkward.
And
it was like super
I don't know if they were being like
funny,
woke and inclusive, but was Scumbug a girl bug or was it a guy bug?
I don't understand what Scumbug was.
Yeah, but he didn't talk English. If anything, he seemed like he was mentally ill, and it's like is Splinter taking advantage of this poor?
I think it
creature?
was a female, but I don't want to assume.
I don't know. Yeah, you don't want to misgender the cockroach thing.
So, yeah, there were definitely some weird elements in that movie, but overall, I liked it.
Overall, I liked it too. The figure's okay, but you have some other Ninja Turtle figures.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of eager to talk about these guys.
Let's start with Krang. So Krang, this is a Loyal Subjects, I'm going to call it Best Action line, BST AXN. The company is actually called Loyal Subjects.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Loyal Subjects. They used to make little vinyl figures. Yeah. I have some other vinyl G.I. Joes and Transformers and stuff. But, so yeah, is it, so it's BST or
BST AXN.
Okay.
Generally, I do enjoy this figure. It's 8 inches, so it scales very well with the Turtles. The cool thing about this figure is, obviously, he's in his android body.
Mm-hmm.
It lifts up, and there's like a little indent where Krang sits in. That's got like a peg inside.
Those arms come out?
Those arms are stationary. Like they're
so
actually.
Does he not have arms?
He does have arms,
okay.
but in order for him to fit in here, you have to take the arms off.
Yeah, so there's the little Krang you get inside there. I don't know if you can see him great, but yeah, he doesn't have arms, so you have extra arms that attach to him.
Yeah.
And it's a good sculpt for Krang.
Yeah, I'm happy with the face. Good sculpt. He kind of got this like evil sneer, kind of half smile. Yeah. So I enjoy him. The only downside about this is like the arm joints. They just look so ugly.
Yeah, that's a terrible joint. Like, especially this far into the action figure game.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they're just trying to figure out, how do we make an elbow? It's like, there was plenty of examples for you to...
Like, that's really ugly. He did come with several accessories. A couple different hands.
He's heavy.
He is heavy. He came with his little axe thing. He came with a gun hand. Yeah. He came with a couple other sets of hands.
And I will say, like, I'm a fan of the android body for Krang. It was one of my top 10 toys or whatever, I think, a couple
the
years ago. Because
NECA
NECA
one, right?
put out one of these, which I think was similar in size, maybe a little taller. He had a lot of accessories, probably more than I ever needed. Had like a towel and a shower cap and all kinds of stupid stuff that were very scene specific.
Yeah.
But I always wanted a Krang android body when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And there was one, but I never had it. I don't think I ever even saw it. So it's just kind of one of those things from my childhood. Like, I want to get that guy. However, despite the fact that like I felt like a need to get this, and I do have a nostalgic connection to it, it's ridiculous looking. Like, this looks totally
some fat overweight guy
stupid in a diaper and slippers. Like, it's so dumb. And like, I don't remember what I saw first. Because there was the cartoon. I think I don't know if they consider it a pilot or a mini series, but I think it was like 3 episodes was kind of like the initial storyline of the Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Yeah.
And like the original, I didn't read the original Mirage black and white comics, which were kind of more adult. But when Ninja Turtle was about to blow up in the mainstream and have the cartoon, Archie Comics published their own kind of kid-friendly version of comic books called Ninja Turtle Adventures, I think.
Yeah.
And I bought those. So it was the first 3 issues were like a mini series that told the same storyline as the cartoon pilot, and then it went on to its own stories. And there was such a build-up in that initial mini series, both the comic and the cartoon, that Krang was this little brain, and he was working with Shredder and Be-Bop and Rocksteady, and he was like, I'm going to build the ultimate android body. And they're like, it's under like a blanket, like Frankenstein would be or something. And you're waiting to see, like, what is this cool suit of armor going to be?
Some fat dumpy.
And when they revealed this thing for the first time, even as a kid, I was like probably 11 years old, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, did anybody think this was cool? Is it supposed to be funny?
Yeah.
Like, it was such a head scratcher, but in time I've kind of grown to love it because it's so stupid. But it is, Krang could have been so much cooler if they did cool design.
Like, I mean, he traditionally comes in his little walker thing, like his little mech walker.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. It just looks really ridiculous. But
and the fact that he was exposed, like, but he's a brain. Like, I don't know what you thought when you were a kid.
No, I knew he was a brain.
But like, when he says, I'm going to build a body for myself because I'm a brain, I thought they'd have a big cool robot or a monster, and they would put Krang in the head where he'd be protected, and he'd have this big, like, Voltron or something. But instead, he's a big, bald baby with a big open window where you just set the brain in his chest where he's still susceptible to damage. And it was such a preposterously stupid idea that I figure it had to have been intentional. Like, they were in on the joke. They obviously weren't trying to design something cool, right?
Yeah, I think the shades do it all, though. It's like just an added element of stupidity.
It's cool.
Yeah, so I got him. He was on sale, I think, for $36.99. So
if I didn't have my NECA one, I would buy that.
Yeah, I'm happy with him. I'm generally happy. Yeah. So moving on to the ones that you're excited about. Let's start with your buddy. So I got the Be-Bop,
my favorite character
from Best Action, whatever.
Yeah.
And initial thoughts were he's super cool. We saw these at Giant Robot.
I've seen them a few places. They have them at Strange Adventures. I've seen them at Toys R Us even.
Yeah, I think it might have been Boxing Day where I was like, no, not for me. But, since I got the Mutant Mayhem ones and I'm back on a Turtles kick, never really left. But anyways, this guy comes with a human head. He came with a couple different weapons.
And they're affordable, too.
They're affordable. So he was $24.99. Which
in this day and age is
that's a good price. The only gripes I have with this guy is the hands are like super tough plastic, and you can't even bend them. So it was a struggle to get his gun in.
Can I see him for a second?
You can see him.
So when this guy, I think the first place that I saw him for sale was at my local comic shop, Strange Adventures, and I saw him. And even for a comic shops are kind of notoriously, they up the price of things. But even they had him for, like, I think $24.99. And I thought, okay, he's got a bunch of accessories. He's really posable. For that price, this is a steal. And he is one of my favorite characters. Like, he's my favorite Ninja Scroll character, but I've always loved Be-Bop. And I had him in my hands to buy him. But then I was like, it's one of those things where, like, in the year or two prior to this figure coming out, I got the Super 7 Ultimate Be-Bop, which is, like, an awesome figure. And then I got NECA's version, which looks perfectly like the cartoon, which is my favorite version of him. Yeah. The cartoon version.
Yeah.
So I have basically two Be-Bops that are perfect. Then I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, this is a cool figure and it's good bang for your buck, but it's not as good as the two I already have. So why am I still wasting even $25 to buy a toy that's not as good as a toy I already have? Plus he's a weird scale. Like, I don't know.
I think he's 5-inch.
Or like 4.5 inches. Like, it's something weird. Like, he's too big for like G.I. Joes. He's too small for vintage Ninja Turtles. Like, if I bought this guy, he wouldn't fit into my collection anywhere. He'd be like a weird orphan. And that would make me want to buy more figures from the line. Ultimately, I talked myself out of it. But the main selling feature for this was the human head. Because I don't think they've ever done that before. Where Be-Bop, you can take his warthog head off and put his human head, which was just super cool.
I will say too, it's a struggle to get the head off.
Yeah.
That guy, like when I was doing the next character, I almost broke it off.
Yeah. It's always recommended when you get these.
Heat them up
with a hairdryer or something. I've had breaks.
Yeah,
before.
they're not fun.
Sucks. But yeah, this guy does look good. But as I hold him in hand, like, he feels good. He doesn't feel cheap. I know you were worried they were going to feel cheap. I think he feels pretty good.
He does feel good.
But his sculpt is a little soft. Like, I don't think his snout is prominent enough. Like, it doesn't really look like a pig.
Yeah.
So this is definitely not as good as the two Be-Bops I was talking about. So I think I can survive without owning this guy. But he's cool. I like it.
So the next one. So just on his box, he said 80s Be-Bop.
Yeah.
I don't know why it came with a trading card. This one is the Rocksteady version of Best Action. Right away. So, do you remember when I was complaining about how cheap they were?
Yes.
I picked this guy up out of the box, literally went to bend his elbow joint, and his arm fell out of the socket.
Because wasn't your Rocksteady from the Mutant Mayhem line, whose arm was also off in the package? And
yeah, but that was intentional because he was so big. They had to.
But is there a looseness to it, or is it locked in place pretty good?
No, it locks in place. Okay. So this one is like super cheap. And in one of our previous G.I. Joe videos, we were talking about Cover Girl and how her joint line was exposed and just looked terrible.
Yeah.
So this one, like,
you might have to get him up a little closer because we're further back than we usually are.
So with this one, you can see kind of the elbow joint there. His whole arm is loose, and it's not going to take much for me to pop that out, like, and it doesn't sit in there firm at all. So that was kind of a bummer, because Rocksteady was my favorite of the two.
He got a sword on his back?
Yes. He has a
big machete.
Sword. Yeah, a big machete. So he's got that, he's got his gun, he's got his coat. Like, that's how I kind of remember Rocksteady.
Now so he also has a human head.
Yeah, and I almost broke his human head.
Now what I will say, and I this is my first time seeing this figure and looking at it. And what I have an issue with this guy, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, like, advertised, in that I don't think Rocksteady ever had arms on his jacket. He's a bare-armed guy.
Yeah.
But I think what they were thinking is, well, we already made Be-Bop, give him a human head, because Be-Bop was brown, both as a human and as a warthog.
Yeah.
So it was literally, you could just change his head, you don't have to change anything else. This guy goes from gray to Caucasian. So they had to give him, you have white guy hands and a white guy head. But I think because they didn't want to give you whole white guy arms, they gave him sleeves, and that's not true to his design.
It's not. They do give him an extra set of white hands.
Yeah. But, like,
his face,
when you think of him from the cartoon, like, I don't like the sleeves on him like that.
No.
It just doesn't look good.
And his face, too, it looks a little thin.
Yeah. But the other thing I would just want to say is, because when I looked at the pictures of him online, when he's got his human head, like it's like this head is kind of sits forward on his body a little bit, sort of like the Mutant Mayhem one, but the human head just sits flush on top, and he's got a big kind of U-neck,
with the skin color,
with the skin tone, and I was like, I wonder how that works with the rhinoceros head, and the rhinoceros head is wide enough that it kind of covers up that whole neck of his t-shirt. But when I turn his head, I see
still see the flesh.
He's got flesh tone on his torso, so it looks like he's got a rhino head but a human body, which is off-putting. Yeah. So I don't like this one.
So no, he was my least favorite of the two, and again, that's disappointing because he was my favorite one out of the duo. The Be-Bop's not perfect, but
it's good, and it's good. And that guy, I would probably, because of his faults, if I was going to put him in my collection, I would display them both as humans, just because I have mutant versions of them already.
Yeah, I have the 25th anniversary Playmates Rocksteady and Be-Bop still carded. So,
as humans?
No, in the 80s cartoon. So I don't know. Maybe I will display them as humans because of that, but
it's a unique thing. Not a lot of people have human mutants in their collection.
I'm still not sure if I'm completely sold on the line. Just that Rocksteady really soured me, and like the joints on Krang was the Android body was the same thing. They just look terrible. Like it's 2023.
And there's just so many options for turtles.
Yeah.
Right now, like if this was the only company making them, we'd probably be happy to have them, and like because the turtles look okay from what I've seen in the box. They come with, I think, alternate heads and alternate hands and everything like that. But considering that Playmates, NECA, Super 7, there's so many turtle options out there that I guess if this is what you're into, they're there.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that will continue or not.
But so are you considering buying the turtles and all that stuff, like expanding that?
Well, they're sort of hard to come by in the stores now. Like they only seem to have one of them, and they're doing what Playmates did in the 80s. Like you're getting so many alternate versions, like skateboarder Mikey and like pizza delivery Leo. So you're getting all these weird ones. I'm not going to go that far into it. If I do come across the turtles,
the BST's doing that? Okay, because I know that Playmates is also doing that.
Yeah, if I do come across that in stores, maybe I'll pick them up, like the original turtles.
Yeah.
Amazon has them on, and they go anywhere from like $25 to $50, depending on the character.
Did you see? We talked about this in our last episode, which we just filmed a half hour ago, but. There's a new Toys R Us that opened in our area. I went there on opening day. You were there like a day or two later. Did you see the Ninja Turtle box that they had that was like 4 blue turtles?
Yeah. I don't understand.
I didn't understand, but I was tempted to buy it. It was like $99. It was who made that? Was it NECA?
I think it was NECA.
But yeah, the turtles were all blue and black. So like their entire bodies, their faces, they were all blue, and then their bandanas were black and their weapons were black. And I was like, I don't know what this is supposed to be. I don't know if it's supposed to be based on like the old Mirage comic books that were sometimes
they were all red.
They were all like red in that, and I'm like, it looked cool though, and it looked like something I hadn't seen before, and I was like, I kind of find this, compelling, but it was $100, and I was like, oh, yeah, I passed, but they were cool. I liked it. All right, so we're on to DC now.
All right, so we're moving on to DC. So anyone who's followed the channel knows that my DC collecting days have shrunk quite a bit based on some quality control issues that I've been having with them, and the fact that it's not sustainable to keep up with the whole collection.
Yeah, they put out a lot of stuff.
Because it seems like every 2 days there's like 5 new figures. So this is the Jokerized version of Batman Dark Detective from the Future State storyline.
That's a mouthful.
That's what she said. So basically this guy is a Jokerized version. So what McFarlane's been doing is repainting certain figures with Joker colors, giving them different symbols, and it's kind of cool. So
it's the kind of thing that I could definitely see fans being divided over, of like, this is kind of a neat thing, or it's completely stupid and nonsensical.
And it's interesting because this line now comes with like a card holder, so all of his figures come with trading cards. Mm-hmm. It's got a specific card holder, and the base is purple with a green bat symbol instead of the traditional all black DC.
And by the way, on Instagram the other day, I mentioned that I throw out my DC cards, and you seemed appalled.
I was appalled. I was like, what? I collect those, and
sorry,
it's okay. But I'm like, man, don't throw those out. Anyways, this guy came with a couple different hands and some accessories. I just enjoy the look of this figure, so I picked them up. I belonged to one of those groups that originally thought it was stupid and a money grab, but after I saw him, I was like, you know what? I do like him.
It's a fine line for collectors between completely stupid and I must have this.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I find that with like say, it's usually when it comes down to repaints. Like sometimes they'll take Transformers and they'll take Optimus Prime and they'll color him yellow and they'll say this is Summer Optimus Prime. And I'm like, that's stupid. But then they'll take the exact same toy and paint him orange and they'll say this is Optimus Prime's brother, Omega Prime or something like that's awesome. And I'm like, it's a very fine line between what appeals to me and what doesn't. So I understand how this you could have teetered on this one here. Now I will say like this is okay. I don't love this, but that's partly because I'm not familiar with the future, all that nonsense you said. What is it? Future State.
Future State. It's Batman Dark Detective. So I have the comics. I haven't read the State. I haven't read the story.
Like, is it Bruce Wayne in the? Because I know Future State was supposed to be set in the future when, like, Superman's son had taken over for him and everything. Like, is this Bruce Wayne?
I'm not confident to answer that because I haven't read the storyline. I just have them in my collection waiting to be read.
But yeah, so they did release this exact toy in Batman colors.
Yeah, first, I have him too.
Which is, I assume, mostly black, right? Yeah. But he's got a trench coat, a short sleeve. Like, I don't know. I don't like this look for Batman just in general. I bet the Joker colors are probably more interesting to look at than the standard one.
Yeah.
But you have another one here, which I think is pretty cool. So.
And I think it's annoying as shit.
Okay.
So, The Dark Knight Returns is probably my favorite Batman book.
Okay.
Here is the Dark Knight Returns Jokerized version. So, a couple things right out of the gate.
Now, do you have the standard Dark Knight figure that this is based on?
Yeah.
So it's the exact same figure.
Same figure, just painted differently. I was on the fence about getting this one. And the only place I could find them was Amazon. I looked at it. I looked at like all the action shots they have with them.
I have seen him at GameStop.
Good to know. Oh no, I did get him at GameStop. Never mind.
Okay.
I went in for something completely unrelated and came out with him. So anyways, I got him and I looked at all the action shots and everything, and he comes with closed fists. He has two other sets of hands that are all closed fist. And in the action shots, they are not closed fist because he comes with this sort of like rappel cord.
Is it possible you had a packaging error and maybe you got the same fist twice instead of the open fists?
No, because I just left his closed fist hands on. So he actually has one open fist.
Okay.
But the other open fist is non-existent in my package. So they either screwed it up.
Yeah.
But the problem with this figure is that the rope is a hard plastic. And it's too big to fit in his gripping hand. Yeah. So you can't even do anything with it. Like, you can't pose him. So he's got this useless accessory. That just bothers me. If you're gonna...
Fair enough. But, like...
He's a good figure. Otherwise, I'm happy with him.
If I had this guy, like, he would just... I probably wouldn't put the rope in his hand anyway. He'd probably just be displayed statically.
Yeah.
And if you're into a Batman painted like a Joker, I think this one looks pretty cool. Because, the base figure was a pretty good starting point. Like, they really nailed Frank Miller's artwork there. Like, I have a Dark Knight figure from DC Direct, I think, and he's good. Like, he's thick and... But,
girthy.
Yeah, he's girthy. But I think this one might even be more successful. That's a good sculpt.
It is a good sculpt. With the hands aside, I'm happy with it.
One more DC figure?
Yeah, the last thing I've got to talk about is, again, if you follow the channel, the Blue Beetle is my favorite non-mainstream DC character, which some people think that's a weird choice, but I like him. The Blue Beetle movie has recently come out, so McFarlane has...
Now, we already talked about the Turtle movie. I haven't seen Blue Beetle. You saw it without me.
Yeah.
So don't spoil anything, but give a 2-minute review of Blue Beetle.
Okay. So this Blue Beetle focuses on Jaime Reyes, who is... I just call him Jamie, but Jamie Reyes, who is a Mexican kid, and he, in the movie, is given this little fast food container.
Yeah, like we've seen the trailer, but was it good?
It was good. It was good.
Right.
I left the movie giving it a 7.5, and I was terrified that they were going to ruin this movie.
Because we were, like, when we went and saw Black Adam together, and we both went in with, I think, low expectations. Mine probably lower than yours.
Yeah.
But we both left that, not loving the movie, but being like, that was entertaining. That was actually pretty fun. I actually went and bought the Hawkman figure because and similarly, so you must have liked it enough.
Yeah, so this movie was full of action. The only thing I would change about it is the family dynamic, and I get that they're trying to build the close Latino family and have them participate in everything.
Is George Lopez good in it, or is he annoying? I'm not a fan of him anyway, but...
He was good. He was good. I mean, he was funny, obviously, George Lopez. But...
well, debatable, but sure.
Yeah. So I think generally my feeling leaving it was good, and then the end credit left me curious, and then I was like, well, that's a waste because they were scrapping the whole DC universe.
So there is a tease for something else coming?
Yes, and James Gunn did come out and officially confirm that Blue Beetle is the first movie in the new DC universe.
So they will follow up.
So they will follow up with it, which was awesome because I'm not going to say anything, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do with this. So this figure, anyhow, McFarlane really pissed me off with this line because this is one of the 2 Blue Beetle figures. So what he's done is he's released 2 identical figures. Yeah. One of them with wings, which is the version I got.
Yep.
And the other version doesn't have wings. It just has a backpack. And it comes with all the accessories. So,
like what accessories?
He's got like the blade that he imagines in it from the trailer. He's got more hands. Like this guy, I think, didn't come with any hands, and it was pretty bland. And the wings, I don't like because they can't fold into each other. They just go onto his back like that. They're a solid piece.
Yeah, that sucks.
So you can't bend them. You can bend them up for like an inch, like half an inch, but they don't do anything. And like I like that it looks like a beetle, but it would have been nicer if they would have folded down because that's taking up like prime space on a shelf.
Yeah, that's dumb that they don't fold
And
down.
the only thing that I can think of is to maybe cut them off because I've seen other fans, they had the same gripes, like, why are you releasing 2 figures, one with all the accessories and one without them?
Yeah.
Money grab, obviously, but all the accessories are interchangeable between both characters, and that was his big thing. Yeah. But I've seen other collectors who have actually cut the wings off right at the base there, just so they can have the, like, pointy tentacle-looking things. Pincers, maybe?
Can I say that this is kind of annoying? And I don't... This might sound a little bit like I'm shitting on my comic book store, and that's not what I mean to do. I go to Strange Adventures here in Halifax. It's a great shop. It wins Best Comic Shop in our alternative newspaper every year. Great store. But this is just kind of... I was a little disappointed, I guess. So I was in there Friday. Yeah, I went in Friday. And to get my comic books. And I spent like $100 on comic books, as I do pretty much every time I go in there. And he was, the manager was like opening boxes as I was talking to him. We were like shooting the shit, and we were talking about the Sackville toy shows and stuff. He's like, I got to get out to those toy shows that you guys have. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, what do you got there? And he's like, oh, we got a bunch of Blue Beetle like merch in and everything. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, have you seen it yet? I'm like, no, I haven't. My buddy saw it. He said it was good. He's like, yeah, I might go this weekend, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, then I leave. I get in the car. Me and my wife are like driving home. I'm like down the road at this point. I'm looking at Instagram. And then he posts a picture. And he's like, we've got all kinds of free Blue Beetle swag. We've got action figures, this figure. He's got posters and t-shirts and like mugs. And he's like, come into the store and grab some free Blue Beetle shit. And I was like, I was just there. I'm like, I would have gladly taken a free action figure. Now, mind you, he was literally opening the boxes as I was there. Maybe he needed a few minutes to sort them out. But, you know, it would have been nice if you'd give me a heads up to, like, because they know I buy a lot of toys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just one of those little things. It's like, oh, darn it. But.
So, I guess my biggest gripe is if you weren't going to make the wings, like, collapsible, you should have given us a flight stand with it. If you're including all the other accessories with that other figure that I didn't want to buy because he looked too plain, I thought the wings folded down. That's why I bought this one. Otherwise, I would have gotten the other one with all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
He's got some weird articulation. Like, his foot goes down like that, but look at his toes.
Or is his toe articulation?
His toe will
He's got little toe articulation.
Like, I don't know. It's just a strange character and strange figure, not character. I don't know. I'm on the fence if I'm going to continue with McFarlane. Like, after getting this and being burnt by how stupid this figure is, and like the wings fall off super easily.
But at least, like,
I'm not going to display him with the wings because I think it's
like, it sucks that you had to buy the two, but at least they came out in the same wave, and you had the option. You're like, I want the one with the sword, or I want the one with the wings. And especially if you're saying, I'm not even going to display him with the wings, maybe you should have got the other guy. But I hate when they put out, like, here's the Blue Beetle figure, and then 3 months later, here's a better one with wings. And so you're like, oh, now I feel burned. So it does suck. He probably should have just made this one, even if they called it deluxe figure and charged you an extra $10.
I'd be fine with that.
You get everything. Yeah, it's kind of annoying that they released the same figure with different accessories.
Like,
is there a build-a-figure with this wave?
No, not that I know of. So, like, the wings will come off, and then he's just left with this backpack that...
Yeah.
I'm guessing is his back, because in the movie it, like, fuses with his spine.
Yeah.
So, that's what that is. But anyways, I'm kind of disappointed that they went that route, and this guy feels a little clumsy. So, I'm right back at my quality control issues with McFarlane. I don't know if I'll continue. Long story short.
All right. Well, you know what? We're almost at the 40-minute mark. I had some stuff I was going to talk about, but maybe we should just do that as a separate episode.
Yeah, let's wrap this up and talk then.
All right, so we can call this one Chad's New Stuff, and then we'll do Mike's New Stuff. So, thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Leave us comments below. Stay tuned for another video because it'll probably be posted soon because we're going to shoot one right now. And yeah, anything else?
No, thanks for coming along for the ride. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about my new action figures. Yeah, any Blue Beetle fans out there, let me know your thoughts on this wave.
All right.
Until next time.
Keep collecting.
Oh, ciao.